A native of Etinan local government area. She's an ardent advocate for the actualization of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in Nigeria. She believes in collaboration and creating safe spaces where youths can leverage to make impacts in their immediate communities. This belief birthed her Smart Gang initiative. She's always on the lookout for ways she can positively contribute towards community development. Her passion to leave the world better than she met it has over the years kept her feet in the social workspace, where she has volunteered and served in both local, national, and international organizations. Our woman in the mirror is a certified health educator. She matches her advocacy with action to end the stigma of women and girls who suffer shame, social exclusion, and cultural taboos during their menstrual cycle, and raises awareness on the need for boys to actively participate in menstrual matters in the cause of achieving gender equity. As a young undergraduate educationist in her 300 level, she works to ensure that every child, irrespective of family background, geographical location, gender, race, ethnic group, or religious affiliation, has access to quality, innovative, skills-based, affordable, and all-inclusive education, especially in rural and marginalized communities. She has also been at the forefront of active service in the students' wing, both at the national and state level. She was a Nigerian representative on the Equal Economic Forum of the United Nations, where she made recommendations on effective ways of raising the standard of education in Nigeria, and subsequently had her article titled Globalization and Digital Literacy published on the World Equal Economy's website. Our woman in the mirror is Nature-Iboro Basi Edith. You're welcome, Nature.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Nature.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
You know, we went through your profile, and the first thing that came to my mind was, how old is she again?
Honestly.
You know, and just reading it, it's quite inspiring. So I believe you have so much package to share with us. Let's quickly go to the first question we asked our guest. So when you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see?
Oh, thank you so much for that question. So when I look at myself in the mirror, I see a beautiful woman who is not limited by her environment, who is not limited by social construction theory. I see a woman who can do all that she was meant to do. I see a woman who can go beyond bounds, who can go beyond barriers, break the barriers, and then do all that she wants to do, when she wants to do them, and how she wants to do them.
How she wants to do them. So far, have you achieved all those things, or you are still in the process?
Well, so far I've not achieved all that I want to achieve because I am still living. So I know that I have done that when I finally die empty.
I think if there's anything I've gotten from what you just said is when you die empty. So obviously you do not intend to take anything back.
Not at all.
So you need to, give out everything. Wow, that's very inspiring. Going through everything you've said about yourself, I also wondered, could it be as a result of your childhood? Did it have any influence towards the things you've achieved so far? Does your childhood have anything to do with it? So in summary, what's your childhood like?
Definitely, what I do now and the things I still intend to do has a bearing with my childhood. Growing up, I had difficulties accessing education in a safe and serene environment, but thank God for Mom, who was always supportive and always making sure that I get to acquire education, even if it wasn't, all that tush, but then the one I could access, the indigenous primary school, and then I made the best of it. She's always ensuring that, okay, you get to do this, you get your textbooks when you have to get them. So I felt like I am a product of education, and there are several other children out there who may not have had parents that, mom especially, that are very interested in their education. So I felt like if I had the chance to change anything for any child, it would be to promote access to quality early childhood education. So it has something to do with my childhood.
Wow. You made reference to your mom, and then you donated decks to St. Catholic Primary School in New York, Quibum State. That was a beautiful one, by the way. Did you do all this alone? Did you have people with you? Did you have supporters, sponsors, all those things?
Oh, okay. Basically, Smart Gang is an organization of young people.
Yeah, I was about to go into asking you about that, and then your inspiration behind Smart Gang.
Okay, so we do projects collaboratively. In the profile, I could hear something like she believes in collaboration. So the project we do is a collaborative effort of these young people at Smart Gang. Not basically that we have sponsors, external sponsors. I believe there is so much more we can do together than individually. So we come together, and the pocket money, because most of my members are students. So
wow.
So we come together and say, oh, we've found a problem, we've identified a need, how do we solve it? And we creatively come up with a solution, and we do that together all the time.
If you're listening right now, I'd like to theme to this program under 25 or maybe under 26, because the women we have today with me are they are young and vibrant. And I can see Precious. This is a women advocacy program, and in the course of all these your achievements, you've had experiences, or have you had experiences where you are sidelined because you are young or because you are a woman, in quotes?
Well, yeah, I would say yes, because I remember when we went for a Donwick project, and then imagine me at that tender age. I mean, in 2019, I was, very young. And
how young? If you don't mind saying how young, because there are people who have restricted themselves from doing better things just because they feel they are too young. I mean, they feel, probably for some people, they have this little girl stature. People might look down on them because of how they are, but they have this zeal to do something great. So I would love you to tell us how young you were when you did all these things, so that someone listening to you would know that I'm not too small to help the next person sitting beside me. I'm not too small to extend my hand to another local government. So how young were you?
Okay, I was 22 when I started a Donwick project, and blessed with this very young nature that you wouldn't even know.
That's why I said that.
22, yeah. So when I went to the community, the community leaders were like, this little girl wants to build a school for us. So it was really difficult, yes, at some point, because they didn't believe anything good would come out of it. So it took a lot of dialogue, it took a lot of community stakeholders meetings for them to finally say, okay, we're going to give this a try. And even when we started, they were still on the sidelines. They didn't want to get involved because they felt like it's going to fail.
It's going to flop along the line.
Yes.
So there was no, you had to work too hard to be able to convince them, to get them to do it. So how was your support all through? Did they give you probably something like cement, water, stuff like that?
Okay, well, that reminds me of this attitude that we have. I mean, community based, and even in some supposedly civilized places, that when you get there to do projects, they stand up and feel like it's government project, so they have to earn from it. So that was our experience, kind of. When we started, everybody thought, oh, this one has collected money from government. So
usual thought.
Yeah, so they wanted money for virtually everything. I mean, for us, because Edonwick is a riverine place, and you have to cross water with all of the materials you're buying. So everything we transported was on land, on water. So when you get to the jetty where you have to cross over to the community, they have to request money for crossing. You have to pay money to cross, whereas it's not like that for the average person crossing to Edonwick. So they felt like there was so much money, there was no support initially. So, but I didn't want to push. I just kept doing what we had to do until we got to a certain extent where I told my team, look, we're not going to do this like this again. Let's have a dialogue. Let's have an agreement with these people, because even before we started, we had a meeting, and then we solicited for the support of the community, and they agreed. But along the line, it was very difficult, and the project ran into funding that we didn't plan for, because of they needed money for everything, no manpower, nothing. So it got to a point I said, we're not doing this, we're going to stop this project here until we have this conversation honestly. So I called for a meeting, called the youth, called the women, called the community stakeholders, and we sat down, and I told them, look, I am not even from this community, and I didn't come to this project because the government gave us money to, but I saw a need, and I can relate to this need. Children here don't even know how to speak English. So we're not just doing this for you because you're already grown. We can think about adult education maybe much later. But right now we're focusing on the children. Yes. So we need to help the future of these children, because an elder statesman once said, Sir Obafemi Awolowo, that the children of the poor you refuse to train today would one day not allow you sleep comfortably. So we thought about it and said, look, this is why we're doing this. We're not doing this to score any points or whatever. So you have to cooperate with us, or else we have to stop this project here. And then when they found out that, this project was out of genuine passion, they apologized that they didn't know and all of that, and that's where they started joining hands with us. It was not like they contributed money or something, but maybe manpower. You go there and they're like, we have fish for you and all of that. So that was basically it.
So where is Adoik?
Adoik is situated in Iko town in Eastern Obole local government area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, talking about your education as an health educationist, right?
Yeah.
As at your 300 level, you were involved in this advocacy, right? So how did you manage going to school and standing up for people? Did you also at some point feel you needed someone to also stand up for you, or were you strong alone on your own?
Okay, thank you. I get that question most of the time a lot when I have to sit on a panel and talking to young people. So I started this advocacy and NGO thing even before I got into the university.
Really?
Yes.
So what was just hold on with that to continue. So what was your first NGO? What was your first advocacy project?
It was an educational intervention program for motherless children at Mother Charles Walker Vocational Home, where we had to facilitate payment of school fees for children actually. So that was my very first project, and that was in 2018 September.
Okay, so let's go back to managing school and projects.
Okay, so as at the time I started, I was working, I was doing NGO, and I was about to get into school. So I had to sacrifice one thing for the other. I stopped working because at some point I felt like I'm not going to be able to combine three. But when it got to, school, in year one, you're going to face a lot of challenges, running around, no lecture venues and all of it, the emergencies. But then I sat myself down and told myself, look, this is what you want to do. And as well, you want to go to school, and you're advocating for others to be in school, to be better. So you have to set your priorities right. So in the morning, I'm in school. I'll dedicate the entire day to school. In the night, I don't sleep. I think the earliest I've slept is 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
Yes.
Why is that?
Yes, that's because I want to balance this. I mean, the afternoon is do what I have to do, attend seminars, do school, just get skills or do anything you want to do. But in the night, it's time to read. It's time to study. Yeah, it's time to do everything that you need to do academically, and also maybe by extension online classes or getting job done for clients, because I also work from home remotely actually. Okay. So basically, it's setting my priorities right, knowing what to do when I have to do them and doing them.
There are lots of people listening to you, and I believe there are also young minds listening to you. And if there is anything I look forward to in a program like this, is letting someone else learn something from you. It's not just about telling us everything you've done. There are some people that need you to pin it down clearly for them to see. Now, there are young minds out there that either wasting their time on social media or something so not productive to them. So how do you engage them? How do you let them know that there's something you can do? There's something you can get yourself involved and then also help another person sitting beside you?
Well, thank you so much. So I had mentioned that Smart Gang is an organization of young people because at some point I felt like, look, we have a lot of NGOs already, and it seems like our problems are always on the increase, even with all of these NGOs springing up. So this is not me wanting to run an NGO. This is me wanting to raise an army of young people who are selfless enough to sacrifice when they get into positions of power. And so I started Smart Gang, and so far I have always been on the front of passion. If you're coming into the NGO, passion, commitment, and selflessness. So if you're a young person out there, I feel like there's nothing you cannot achieve once your mind is set on doing it. And then this is the premise on which I started Smart Gang. When I started Smart Gang, I was earning just 10,000 naira. But that is how I sponsored projects, because at some point, young people that came in were just students and they didn't have money. So I felt like, if we have to do this, then we have to do this irrespective of. So if you're there and you feel like, I'm not enough, what did I come to this world to do actually? Yes, my mates are doing this, they are doing that. I feel like you just have to stand up and follow purpose, because it's purpose that has kept me on this path. Many times I've had to do projects and go back with 0 naira in my account. I can't even count those times. But each time I remember that this is what I wanted to do. This is what gives me happiness. Looking at people smiling, looking at children having rekindled hopes, and putting them on the path of you become better, and watching them grow makes me happy. And so this is what has kept me in the race. So if you're a young person out there, you should be able to find purpose, because if it is not attached to purpose, you will get tired along the way, you will get fed up and you want to give up. Maybe your mates are doing better, you feel like, what am I even doing? If it is not purpose, you won't stay there for a long time. So I found purpose in what I was doing, and at the same time, it is passion, it is commitment, and that is what has kept me. So if you're there, yes, you can do better, but first, before you think of better, start from good, and then you'll get to better.
Oh. So how long do you intend to push this? How far can you go, or how far do you predict you can go?
I said earlier that I intend to die empty.
I think I'm taking that one home.
Yeah, so as far as I breathe, I'm going to push this, but on the long run, more like a long-term goal. I feel I'm looking at my organization becoming a global sphere where young people from different countries can come together to extend this impact, to scale impact. So I'm looking at one day I'm going to be addressing the United Nations and young
I like
people
that
there.
dream.
Yeah. So I intend to go as far as possible, breaking all limitations and getting to that point where I die empty.
There are young people also that are into this advocacy and NGOs. How do you see women involvement? How do you see young ladies involvement in making the world a better place? Reading through your profile, I think I saw a place you said making the world better than how you met it. So how do you see women involvement, especially young ladies involvement in making the world a better place than the way they met it?
Okay, so if I want to do on a scale of, I think women are doing 7 of 10. Yes,
7 of 10.
7 of 10, because a lot of NGOs are being run by women, girls, and they are doing great. But I think I won't just stop at commending them for doing great. I would also say they should do more of collaboration.
Okay.
Because for us to actually making the world or leaving the world better than we met it doesn't just stop with us doing what we have to do. Because no man is a monopoly of knowledge or ideas. I alone cannot change the world, so we have to go into collaboration. So other young ladies, young girls, women out there who feel like they can make the world a better place, I think you have to do more of collaboration. When we hold each other's hands, I think we are more...
Yeah, we're capable. We'll do more.
We make an ocean if we come together as drops. So let's collaborate more, and let's be more intentional about the things we want to solve. people come to me and they're like, young women, I want to do NGO, I want to start my NGO, and the first thing I ask them is, what problem do you want to solve that others are not already solving?
So you need to identify a problem you have to solve, so that could serve as your purpose, that could serve as your driving force.
Of course, and then you have to collaborate with those who are already doing this,
okay,
to be able to fill the gap. Yes, so you don't just come in and say, I want to do education, I want to do advocacy. There are many other women-led groups that are doing advocacy for women. So what are they not doing right that you're coming to do? So that's where collaboration comes in.
So you first identify the need and then work hand in hand with someone else that has been there.
Definitely.
And then you grow together.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. You were planning to attend sit out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, kind of shows your excitement about
of course.
it. And you have been consistent, right, with sit out?
Yes.
So what are your expectations this
I think one of my best moments would be seeing Khadija.
I think that was a guest speaker, right?
Yes, mounting that stage, because I have been silently following her. And then I remember when she declared, and there was a lot of reaction on social media, female presidents, because I mean, I feel like there's nothing we cannot do. I'm also throwing my gele in the student union politics, where I am, yes, for the top job too. So I feel like I am so looking forward to Khadija's speech. I want to hear her. I want to feel that passion. I'm already following her, but I feel like, oh my God, I can't wait to see Khadija. And then the last time I attended sit outs, I came back sober. I think it was also about women. Yes, it was also about women, and we had a lot of guest speakers. And when I came back, I was like, God, if you had stayed back from sit out today, I don't know where you would have been. So it's a whole lot for me. From, one thing I like about sit out, they are very organized. From the opening prayer to the music, like everything is just intentional, in place and on time. So I'm looking forward to sit out with my full chest, and I can't wait.
I have it sounding in my head, going back out, dying empty. For you to, I don't want to put it that way. So let me just ask you that at once. So what's your next plan after the project you're handling at? What do you have a current project at hand?
Yes, we do. So for every year we have a checklist, and we keep ticking them as we do it. So for this year and this month, currently we're planning skills for young. We try to tailor our programs to meet immediate needs. So we had
sorry, before you complete that one, there's this thing I want. So who can be a part of Smart Gang? Who are those that can be a part of Smart Gang?
Okay, young people, basically from as young as maybe from 15, 16, 17 and up to 40. You can be a part of Smart Gang as far as you're passionate, you're committed, and you're selfless.
All right. Would love to stay longer and gist with you and share with you. So in 2 seconds, two seconds, nothing more, what do you have to say to beautiful women out there?
Hello, beautiful women out there. You're beautiful, and that's certain, and there's nothing you cannot do. So always aim at shattering the glass ceilings, always.
Thank you very much, Nature-Iboro. It's an honor. It's quite a beautiful moment with you.
Thank you.
I'll hand over to Precious to close it for us.
All right, then. Thank you very much. So that's how far we can go today. It was so good to have Unyime, aka Psychic, back on the beat. Well, Dr. IT couldn't make it today, but she sends her warm wishes. And before we leave, I'd like us to remind us of these two things. Remember to die empty. Aim for the stars, and remember that there's power in unity. Remember, our guest speaker said that when we come together as little drops of water, we can make an ocean. Now, that was The Beautiful Woman on Radio, brought to you by Beautiful Imaginations, located at number 63 Wanyiba Road, Uyo. My name is Precious Abang, and the program was produced by Thomas Etuk, aka Consulti. Thank you for listening.
Cooley Station.
Yeah, that's us.
Cause we play
This.
my baby forgive.